In April 1945, the Red Army descended upon Berlin. After fighting on two fronts for 4 years, the manpower of the German army became dire. The few willing bodies left to defend its capital were either the elderly or children aged 15 to 18. By the time the Soviet Union hoisted their flag on the Reichstag, it was clear that this act of desperation was just that, and you can see this same course of action several times throughout history. But what if in the distant future, alien races from all over our cosmos would band together to destroy our very way of life? Would these children, under different circumstances, suffer the same fate? Much like our own history, weapons of mass destruction are created out of scientific curiosity of all things, or situations unrelated to their present use. The same can be said with the Spartan II program, designed to defeat the insurrectionist forces on the outer colonies to prevent a human civil war. And it was only in 2525 did humanity discover the Covenant, destroying the planet of harvest and millions of lives over the next few years. To the public eye, the Spartans were propped up on a pedestal. In short, they were the most consistent ground troop the UNSC had in the conflicts to come. But to the regular civilians, they were heroes, the subject of propaganda to boost morale, often exaggerated or fictionalized so much that many civilians didn't even believe the Spartans were real, a ghost story meant to get enlistment records up. In reality, they were the heroes of humanity. But the dark secret of the Spartan II program is one that will never truly come to light. It's one that these brave men and women were much younger than meets the eye. And behind those eyes are an uncomfortable question. Have you ever thought about somebody living your life? In the known world today, it may seem out of the scope of the times, but in the Halo universe, nothing is outside the realm of possibilities. While the Spartan II program is covered a great deal, one aspect of the program I always found interesting were the flash clones, rapidly grown clones with the sole objectives to cease a mere few weeks later, their bodies literally shutting down. While humanity's best were being trained, they fell ill with a high mortality rate. Their purpose to cover the tracks of an abduction. To those who know the tale, the question always comes back to one thing: why children? The answer is to indoctrinate. Just like human history in the past, these children were taken from their homes, and just like our own history, segmented to rigorous events that would make them forget their past lives. But what if you were able to escape, to make it home to your family, only to find one alive, yourself alive, bound to a wheelchair in her final days? What if you saw yourself dying? That's the question my favorite episode of Halo Legends answers, as we follow the story of Daisy on her last day and the first day of her new life. The Halo universe is often praised for its lore, conflicts, and bombastic set pieces, but episodes like Homecoming give us that human element, something I am always found interesting, in that these types of questions feel so much closer to home than a galaxy hundreds of years in the future. Do you think you could go home after so much has changed mentally and physically, scarring you for the rest of your days? How would you sacrifice for those who needed it, even if in the end it was all in vain? Was it right to do what Dr. Halsey and Oni did for the sake of humanity? That's the questions of the ethics of the Spartan II program. They exist in a shade of gray that makes it hard to judge with the kind of certainty we want when we talk about heroes like the Master Chief, statues, iconacy. It's easy to praise the Spartans for saving humanity, but it's harder to reckon with what you lost to do it, because your family, your neighbor's family, could have saved humanity by watching your child die. And for the Spartans, all they have is war. That there's no place for them, for Daisy, in this world anymore, in this galaxy anymore. If they were even alive to see the end of it, the Spartan IIs fell on Reach with a survivor count so messy, so covered in black ink, that it could be less than 15. Home was nothing more than a warped reality of a life decades ago. But they are the saviors of humanity when everything else failed. The Spartans didn't. You can't just ignore the sheer scale of what they accomplished. What he accomplished in a universe where extinction was on our doorstep. The Master Chief saved everyone. But then there's Daisy, a super soldier trained to be the best, falling during a simple evacuation. The Spartan IIs may have been the greatest asset the UNSC had, but they all fell just the same, some more worthful than others. Was it right to weed down the 75 till they found the one that could save us all? Despite how the rest of the military looked at them, the Spartans were not machines. They were men and women that knew war better than they knew themselves. But behind every visor, every augmentation, every suit of armor, there was still a person underneath. Lasky said it best in Halo 4. Soldiers aren't machines, they're just people. But when you look at the bigger scope, was it worth it to ruin the lives of so very few to save humanity? Was the 75 families impacted by tragedy enough to dispel saving the galaxy over and over again? That is a question I cannot answer, because I wouldn't know how I would feel. But I do know how Daisy felt, how she knew her part to play. She allowed her clone to be with her family in her final moments because they were hers, because that's what she would have wanted. The Spartan IIs are a great mystery that will never truly come to light, but I do know this: these children of war carried the weight of humanity's survival on their backs and accomplished more than anybody could ever do alone. And maybe that alone is worth it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy what I do, maybe consider checking out some other stuff. Thank you so much.